So let's start. It seems that there's been some delay today, but we'll try maybe to save some time for you tonight. So my name is Jean-Michele Birck. I'm working for Alfresco. I'm in charge of channel and alliance over EMEA and APAC. And I'm also in charge of the business development in Eastern Europe. So I'm very pleased to be here and to have the opportunity to present you Alfresco, the company. So I'm not, as you may imagine, I'm not a technical guy. I'm more sales and business development guy. So I would like to explain you what is Alfresco, if you don't know us as a company, and why we are going. And I take the risk to demo you a little bit of Alfresco, starting with my presentation. So apologize if it's phased. I have a backup here. But let's try. So we talk about, and I will be talking about Alfresco, the content management, and the way we use Alfresco across different products and different components. And we'd like to show you, maybe you know about that already. So my presentation will be delivered through my iPad. And in fact, I'm running Alfresco on my iPad. And on Alfresco, we have in-premises Alfresco working on a Alfresco data center, which is ts.alfresco.com. So that's inside the firewall. And I also have a cloud account that anybody of you can try for free if you want after this presentation, or maybe we have already tested, which enable me to use Alfresco and to share documents with the people I'm inviting to. So for that, I've stored inside my TS, so my internet application, a document. So I'm not connected to the web here because there's no Wi-Fi, but at least I've downloaded the presentation that I'm going to show you, which is this one. And this presentation, as we are operating in a mobile environment, you can see here first a vision of the document, which is my presentation, but of the document that I'm managing. And after that, this document I'm going to edit, to maybe change it, and so on. And of course, in this mobile environment, you have different components, different software that are used to. And I'm going to use SlideShark, which is quite good for using PowerPoint. So let's start from the beginning. And now I will run my presentation, so hopefully it hasn't failed. So, talking about Alfresco. The company Alfresco has been created in 2005, so it's 8 years now from now, 7 years. And at that time, in fact, we decided that the ECM market, which was document management, was a market which was mature enough with a lot of old players like Finet, OpenText, Microsoft, and so on and so on. And it was a good time to have a disruptive approach. So this guy who is one of our founders, and he is our chief architect, chief technical officer, as moving from Documentum, has created Alfresco from scratch, a product based on the business model of open source. So I'm not going to explain what is open source to you. I think that's something we all share. And that was a bet at that time. And what we deliver, what we develop. So Alfresco open source model is, we use the open source model approach, but we develop the product. I mean, the community version, which is the free version, as well as the enterprise version, are developed mainly by Alfresco, by 95% by Alfresco. We had a lot of contribution from partners, from customers, but it's quite a complex system. So if we want to have the quality of the product, we need to control it quite closely. So what we develop is a content platform, so the open source platform, and that's what we price to our customer for the one who are using the enterprise version. From that, we have a share, which is a component which is accessing Alfresco on a browser base that you can use to store, manage, administrate, and so on. And we have typically two types of use cases of using Alfresco. The biggest one in terms of revenue to us, and probably in terms of use, is still classic document management. So document management on the top, and one of the specific parts which is records management. So certified by Department of Defense in US, in some other countries as well, to store the truth of a content. So that, as I said, it's about 70% of what we receive in terms of subscription. And we have also another part, which is web content services. So in this case, Alfresco is a repository for content, which is published on an internet or internet portal. And at that time, the portal by itself could be developed by partners using Drupal, using specific tools, Liferay, and so on and so on. But then Alfresco is a repository. So it's about a third of our revenue. So that's the products that we are developing. And we are quite proud of what we've done, because it seems that Alfresco is quite widely used. That's some statistics that we received and we look for. We have about 4.6 million users actively using Alfresco. So I'm talking about both the community version and the enterprise version. Alfresco is running about 3 billion documents, so the different system of Alfresco. That's an estimate of what we're doing. 1,500,000 live installation. As you see, most of these installations are done in community. But if you look at the number of users, I will say that 70% of the users are using the enterprise version. So that's a change, because usually the community version are limited to a limited number of users. 4x5 servers downloads, a lot of Forge applications. So we are very active in terms of developing the software in this open source model. So Alfresco has been used and has been developed by many, many companies and people across the world. We're operating from 60 countries today. So it seems that the product is good. When you look at that, for an open source model, it doesn't work if the product is not good. So at least we can say the product is reliable, is appreciated. And after that, as all the open source model, the question, and the company by itself lives on subscription. So there's always the question, why should I pay something which is free? I don't know if you have that. I'm sure you're facing that. But we are not very different from the other open source vendors. So what is the value that we are bringing on the enterprise version? The first thing is that it's hardly certified, tested. We're spending more, probably a couple of months over the community version to test Alfresco more deeply. We have some specific deployment features that are inside Alfresco Enterprise, typically running on high availability. This kind of thing is not dedicated for Alfresco community. We are operating through a network of partners who are certified by Alfresco, so it's a way to secure the fact that we are going to implement a good project with a good return on investment. Of course, we have all the service packs, upgrade support, technical platform, assistance, portal, and so on. All the maintenance track. So nothing really specific, but remember, Alfresco is developing the product. Let's say 95% the source code is coming from Alfresco, and we are supporting the platform. So once a large project or a critical project is to be implemented, it makes sense for most of our customers to move to Alfresco Enterprise, and that's what is paying for the development, paying for the development of the company. So since that time, and now I will be talking only about enterprise, Alfresco Enterprise, we've been quite successful in different areas. So historically, government has been one of the top vertical where we have been developing Alfresco, because government like open source, reducing the cost, and so on. And we have a lot of companies or bodies using Alfresco in the government space. Finance is a very strong vertical for Alfresco as well. Typically insurance, banking, and corporate and investment banking have been implemented Alfresco a lot. And we have a lot of success stories around that. But you can see that we are not only working on government and finance, we have customers in all of the verticals. And recently, I would say something maybe significant, we have been selected by SAP to be the only document management tool that they have implemented internally. So we are talking about 50,000 users, and you can imagine what has been the selection criteria of SAP. It has been painful, it has been a nightmare for us. They have been testing everything hardly, so it has been very good as well, because we have worked with that team to check Alfresco is scalable and so on and so on. So that's an example of our customers in different verticals. And from these customers, we are also expanding now in Eastern Europe. So I will say we are not very successful. The community users of Alfresco in Eastern Europe is quite important. The number of companies which are switching to Alfresco Enterprise is now growing. So we are working with Linux Polska, with Videl as a distributor. And we had quite good success. And you can see the customers are mainly, at the moment, around government, for example, in Lithuania, in Russia, in Turkey, here it's a city, around insurance and banking, I will just say finance, and telco. So quite representative to what we are doing in the other countries. And there's a lot of possibilities for Alfresco to further expand in these countries. So why has been Alfresco so successful in the last time? Just to give you some rough numbers, we have been growing 50% each year since 2005. So at the beginning, it's quite easy, you can say. As we progress, it's tougher and tougher. It means for Alfresco that we are gaining about 100 new customers per quarter, every 3 months. So it's a very aggressive ramp up for a company like us, because we need to have more people as well to run that. And the reason why we have been successful is first because Alfresco is simple. We are operating in a market of ECM where there's a lot of vendors. They have very deep features. And Alfresco, in fact, we have decided to have the features that the user are using, not the very deep one. So if we compare feature by feature, probably we will lose on RFP or this kind of thing. But we are providing the relevant features. And thanks to that, Alfresco is expanding very easily. In the beginning, we were just mapping a disk drive. No user impact, no change, no training, and so on. And it was very easy then to implement Alfresco. We have many other ways now to use Alfresco, but it's still there. And also the other, of course, side is a low cost. It's a lower cost, I would say lower cost. I mean, there's no license price, just pay for a subscription. And so the project cost is lower than implementing another ECM platform. So that's some of the reasons why we are growing. And we believe that we will keep growing. There's many obvious reasons around that. The first thing is about content. Content is proliferating. If you look at the forecast of the storage vendors, it's like that. And we are on this trend as well. Storage is storing content, and content is to be shared. So there's more and more content to be shared. Now we have social tools like YouTube, Network, Facebook, this kind of thing. And the same for the companies that are now changing the way the content is driven. The second thing why we believe that we will keep growing is about the platform by itself. So we have proven, as I show you, that product is relevant. Our users and companies are subscribing every year. So we are an open source platform. If the user is not happy, he's not going to renew. And so we lose a customer. So it's very important for us to have a good product, because that's the way we are going to grow. And we have shown that we are relevant. And we have also shown that we are innovative. I mean, we are including in Alfresco probably much more innovation than our competitors in this market. We have released recently Alfresco on the mobile, which I'm using right now. We are releasing Alfresco on the cloud. And it took for us about, I will say, 6 months to be able to switch from in-premises to cloud. So that's something quite important for us, and it's also a way for expanding. Another reason is because the open source model by itself has been proven to be a reliable business. I think if we can look at these guys, they have shown that you can build a company of $1 billion revenue in the model which is which was some years ago not so obvious. So the model is good. The way open source is growing has shown that you can rely on that. And the last thing for us is about partners. We are very partner-centric. Most of our business, about 80% of our orders, are coming from partners. So we work with partners in depth, local partners, and we ensure that they are certified on our product to ensure that the product will be implemented correctly, and then the user will be happy, and that they will renew their subscription. Alfresco is listed on the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So that's something important because it's showing that we are playing with the big one. One of the other reasons is, so we have asked Forrester to run a study for us. We have provided them with a set of customers, and they have chosen from that. And they run an analysis. So this is an analysis of total economic impact. It's not about implementing Alfresco as its own. I mean, it's not implementing ECM. It's not a study about that. Because when you implement ECM, you are saving disk space, you are saving time of people, and so on and so on. So we have all of that. This one is comparing implementing Alfresco towards another one, another system. And we have shown that the open source model pays by itself. I mean, in 10 months, we have a payback period, 1.3 million of cost saving for the companies that have extracted from that, which is a company they created to be a showcase. 53% of return on investment. So these kind of studies are very important when we are going to big customers, big prospect, let's say, to justify that, okay, it's an open source, the product is good, but we have also return on experience that shows that it pays back comparing to other systems. So it's a very good justification or example to show that we can move forward. The other thing which is important and we are using a lot as well is, okay, that's an extract of the quotes from the customers that were on these studies. So one says, okay, Alfresco is easier to implement, it's easier to integrate, and so that's what we know from open source. Product is simple, it's easier to implement. The other one say, okay, now if you are going for an ECM project, consider Alfresco. We are playing with a big one, with a Microsoft, with a Documentum, EMC Documentum, IBM, and so on. So as soon as there are RFP now, Alfresco is listed as one of the potential vendors. But the one I like the most, and which is the future of where we're going, is the one in the middle, saying, okay, the change of Alfresco, the rate change, and the innovation we are including in the product is so huge comparing to the other offering. That it makes a difference. And thanks to the open source model, the community, which is testing new features before submitting it to the development center, it's a very powerful way to be innovative and to be sure that what you have today will be future-proof for the next 5 years, 10 years, we'll see. In the meantime, we are switching from different models as well. You know that, I guess you heard about the cloud and so on. And the issue that many of our companies are facing now is that the content is not stored anymore only on your in-premises. So you cannot guarantee that your content that you are going to share between the different people that are working on your company will be stored securely in your in-house. So CIOs have a new problem now. It's about the cloud. You have offerings that you can go and use outside. I don't know, just an example. Who is using Dropbox in these? Raise your hand. Okay, not so many people. But Dropbox is a very easy way to synchronize your PC, your laptop, your mobile, and so on and so on. And it's a very easy way to escape the data out of the in-premises. So we are seeing more and more that the users and the CIOs have a different approach. And if you look at that, these guys, in fact, have two different needs. If you are in the head of a CIO, you need to control, you need compliance, and you need security. On the other side, you have end users. So everybody is used now to buy on internet. And the kind of user interface you have when you're buying on internet is completely different from the system you have in your company. So these guys, they want to do the job, they want to do quickly, and they want to do it on a nice way. And more, there is a danger that these end users are going to escape from the IT which is provided, which is a very worrying issue. If you look at the way the CIOs or the IT managers are buying a product, what they look at? They look at security, auditing, regulation, things like BPM. Does the user care about BPM? No, it's a process. So it's the way you're managing that. System integration, the platform on which it's running. If you look at the end user by himself, they buy on experience. The experience they have on the website. The experience they have as a consumer, as a knowledge worker. So they would like to evaluate, they would like to buy after they evaluate. They want something very easy. So first download, it works, it doesn't work. It takes a minute and the product is gone. And there will be no user acceptance after that. You can train the people for a long time, but if you are not able to instantly gratify them with a good interface, good features, you probably lost them. So they also like to try before paying. As I said, they like to buy direct, no intermediate salespeople selling them, trying to sell them and to convince them. And they like also to go below the radar. I remember an example of the Bank of America, and this guy, the CIO of Bank of America, was meeting with a guy, the CEO of Amazon. And the CIO of Bank of America was asking, how can I help you to develop your business? And then the CEO of Amazon said, but you know, you have more than 2,500 people of your company already using our systems. So in fact, these guys are going below the radar, below the security, whatever. So it's very important to take that into account because the content, once again, is moving away. So, and more, I don't think the CIO are going to win the battle by themselves. So the end user, at the end, are paying for the IT. And what we want to do is to help this CIO before we go to this kind of image. And the way we want to do that is to make ECM, or content management, invisible from the end user. I mean, they are using a tool that provides them features, that provides them value. Oh, sorry. And we want to show that as invisible. So I mean, user experience is very important. So that's where we're launching, and since a couple of months already, cloud-connected Alfresco. We are investing a lot on that. It's the same product of Alfresco, working on in-premises and working on the cloud. But you can imagine that Alfresco working on the cloud, we're targeting more than 1 million users and more than 1 billion documents to be managed. We're talking about scalability, we're talking about security, and so on and so on. So it's very important for us. So what does it mean going to the cloud-connected content? We should be able to access from any device. Your laptop inside your company, your iPad, if you're traveling, maybe your phone, and so on. When you're using a component on a mobile, it must be integrated with your local toolings because there is no more Office or whatever, Open Office or whatever. Sometimes you need to publish it easily, to tweet again about that, to connect to Facebook maybe, and so on, or just to send by email. And all of that should be provided to the end users, but still controlled by the company. That's the IT perspective. So what we want to offer, and what we're offering today, is a way to easily share your content between different entities. Imagine you have a head office on one side, a large branch on the other side, and maybe a small branch which is sitting as an insurance company, for example, which is sitting on a remote area. We want to be able to provide these features inside the firewall and outside the firewall to collaborate correctly. What we are providing as well is an easy way to access the components. So I'm showing that on my iPad, but that's another example. We were working also on Android to make that happen. So it must be a very good user interface to provide that. And it must be able also to collaborate. If you imagine as a company, some data, you want them to be protected inside the firewall. You want the user to access them, but to access through security. Some of the data could be outside. Typically, you're running a project. You need to exchange some data with the partners, with subcontractors. You're not obliged to host that inside your firewall because otherwise they are not able to access. So you can share some data, and you are going to decide which data are shareable and which data are not shareable. So the hybrid cloud, there's a lot of development at the moment. Not all of the applications are ready to do that, but that's what we're working on, and it's very close to be ready for Alfresco. We have a beta version which is running right now. You can subscribe on. So really the idea is to be able to collaborate inside and outside the firewall around the content that you're sharing. So once again, the content could be document, video, music, whatever, maps, or whatever you want. That's the way we are going to integrate. And of course, when we're talking about mobile, it's very important, once again, to collaborate with the ecosystem of application inside mobile. So typically, if you're running on a mobile, you have a contract. For example, you're a consultant. You're going to a customer site. You have maybe a contract or a timesheet to make a sign. Okay, you can go download the timesheet or your contract on your tablet or your iPhone or whatever. Ask your customer to sign. Send it back to Alfresco with, for example, DocuSign or some other system. And it's an easy way to show a process of managing such documents. So not all of that today is integrated with Alfresco. DocuSign, QuickOffice, Google Docs, Yammer, Facebook, Evernote are done. Twitter is going on to is done. Dropbox is planning to be done in the next quarter. So we're working on this kind of ecosystem integration. And we believe that's the key for moving forward on the cloud area. So that's our vision of the way the content management, so the invisible ECM is going to be used by different users, but ensuring that organization will be able to control from inside the data that are shared, pushing the data they choose inside the cloud, and integrating through this data with the local systems, application, and through the mobile access. So on one tablet, on one mobile, you will be able to, 5 minutes, okay. You will be able to access all of this information. And as I said, the platform for doing that is Alfresco 4. We don't have an in-premise platform on a cloud platform. Everything is sitting on Alfresco 4. That's the products that we have sold to SAP that I was talking about. There's another company that we have chosen Alfresco recently with Google. So we are quite proud because maybe the more visible companies in the world, software vendors in the world, are now using Alfresco as a content management. So it's also a way to show that, okay, probably we did a great job in developing the product. So once again, Alfresco is a content management solution. It's an open source, so it's integrated with a whole set of our external components. I was talking about web services from in the cloud, but of course we integrated with classical corporate systems. Of course, talk about Oracle, SAP, Kofax for scanning and capturing the images and the text. LiveRay, Jive, Drupal in terms of portals, relying on Alfresco. Social media channels, the way we can publish information. We have a way to extract and publish the information back to these channels and so on and so on. I will not go in details, but that's the power of open source. I mean, the fact that we have a lot of partners, and Alfresco as well, have been working on all of these interfaces, APIs, CMIS interfaces, and so on, to be able to integrate with the existing components in the company. So that's, for me, the end of my presentation. So the message that I would like to bring to you is to say, okay, We are operating in a market of ECM where we are very, very successful. We're growing 50% in a market which is growing 4%. So we are taking market share. And we are taking market share because the product is good, because we have a set of partners who are good to implement our product, and because the end users are satisfied with what we're doing. We also believe that we have to provide the future-proof solutions. Today, we are working on the mobile. Tomorrow, we don't know what will be the next way of doing IT. So the communities that we have around Alfresco is a very good a group of people analyzing the market change, providing us with a new evolution and so on. So what we are providing today is a capability to go from in-premises, providing end-user application, to the cloud, mixing all of them through a very user-friendly approach that could be running on mobile, could be running on PC, could be running anywhere in the different platforms that you are using. And if you are interested in testing Alfresco on the cloud, go to alfresco.com. You can sign up today and try it. It's free. We are launching the enterprise version of Alfresco in the cloud very soon, the next months, I would say. But you can try it for free. You can use it on your iPad, on your iPhone today. And very early, we will be able to provide to our customers and partners the cloud running on the Alfresco running on the cloud on an operational model. So that's the end of my presentation. Hope I'm being on time. So thank you for your attendance. I will be outside there if you have more questions. Very happy to answer your question back. Thank you.